All right, so now I want to talk about my top 5 favorite games of 2023. Now, these games weren't all released in 2023, but they were new to me in 2023, if that makes sense. So the 5th game on my list is going to be Spider-Man Remaster. Again, I know this game came out a long time ago, but it was absolutely fantastic and a joy to play. I am admittedly not a huge beat-em-up game fan, meaning you're just fighting waves of bad guys as a superhero and beating things up. Now, I will say I like the Arkham games. I played the first 2. I didn't play the 3rd one. My friend always gives me crap about that, but I intend to go back and play it at some point, maybe this year. I don't know. I'm going to get to it eventually, but this is my first time actually really diving in deep and enjoying a game like this. Because, again, I don't know, it just, there's nothing more magical than swinging around as Spider-Man through the city. I don't care about anything else. I didn't want to fast travel. I literally just wanted to go from point A to point B, swinging around the city. That was absolutely one of the most enjoyable things about the game. The fighting part, okay, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. The story was pretty good. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, but I thought it was good enough and I enjoyed it enough to want to play the game more. The grindy elements of it, didn't love it, didn't hate it, whatever. But dude, seriously, swinging through the city as Spider-Man is, I don't know, it's breathtaking. It's fun. The city's beautiful. It's huge. It feels amazing. It really does. It feels amazing. As he is called the Amazing Spider-Man, it is definitely one of the best games that I played in 2023. Next up is Diablo 4. I mentioned this earlier, but I know Diablo 4 is a controversial game in the gaming space. People love it. They hate it. A lot of people really hate the fact that they went more casual with this game and didn't focus on the hardcore audience. But again, I know people hate it, but they brought a lot of people who have never been introduced to this genre, been interested into this genre, into this game with the elements that they actually included. Me being one of them. I absolutely did not like this genre of games. I thought it was boring. I didn't like the angle of the camera. I don't know, it just seemed like too much for me. Like Diablo 3, Path of Exile was way too much. Like I'm never going to get into those games. They're way too complicated for me. I didn't like it. But Diablo 4, I don't know, they just captured me. Everybody was playing it, and I'm not usually the type of person to jump into a game that everybody's playing. But when I started playing it, I legitimately was having a really good time. I enjoyed the complexities of it, while I also enjoyed the simplicities of it. It was actually not that complicated of a game when you get into it. I love the different builds, I love the different characters, the lore, the story. I don't really care about too much. It was okay. I like the dark elements of it. Necromancer was by far my favorite character to play in all the seasons I played so far, because I played all 3 of them. I didn't play much of season 1, got kind of bored of it. But season 2, I got my character to level 100, as well as in season 3 I'm playing right now. I've got my character to level 50. I'm approaching 100. I'll get there sooner rather than later. I just love the game. It's absolutely fantastic. That's my number 4 on the list. Now, my number 3 on the list is another genre I got introduced to, which was Halls of Torment and the roguelike genre. My goodness, what a freaking fantastic little game. It's not the most complicated game. It's not the most challenging game. It's a very pixelated, like kind of, old school game look, but I love it. It's just absolutely fun. It runs well on the Steam Deck. I love just playing it. Like if I got a quick 30 minutes, I just want to do a quick run. I love knocking it out. I love going for all the achievements. They're all really fun, and some of them are very challenging and rewarding when you get them. I love like the summon archetypes where you can just build like this huge army of minions to fight with you. I love all the abilities where you can just do all the different things like cause complete chaos, fighting these thousands and thousands of units. And the developers are just so amazing at updating the game frequently. That's what I love about it so much, is that the developers are so fantastic at just keeping the community always on the hook for what's next, because they are so quick to release content, and I love it. Halls of Torment, absolutely 10 out of 10, fantastic game. If you have not played it, you're doing yourself a disservice, because that's one of the best games to come out 2023. It's a sleeper game. You definitely need to play it. My number 2 favorite game of this year, and I know it's kind of like a sleeper because I started playing it basically in December, but it did come out this year, and I did start playing it this year, was Remnant 2. Absolutely fantastic game. Again, if you're into any type of Dark Souls type game, man, this is one of the best ones. I'm serious. It's absolutely great because it's not as challenging as other Dark Souls games. Like, I feel like it got a lot of the Elden Ring treatment, meaning like, okay, Remnant from Ashes is actually a harder game than Remnant 2. I went back and played Remnant from Ashes, which was the first game, which they quickly abandoned, and that game was friggin' hard compared to Remnant 1, Remnant 2. So I feel like Remnant 2 is a much more accessible game, just like how Elden Ring was for Dark Souls players who have never played the genre before, because I loved Elden Ring. I played the crap out of it and I loved it. Anyways, so if you're looking for a game that gives you a ton of depth, a ton of different things to do, and gives you a really expansive world once you start to really understand what's going on and how the game works, this game is absolutely fantastic. There's so many secrets, there's so many different things that can happen. The worlds, whether you like this or not, are procedurally generated. So when you go into a situation, like let's say you go and re-roll a world, you go into this world, it may be completely different from the last time you went into it. The DLC is great. All the archetypes are great. They give you tons of flexibility. The weapons are really cool. There's like even the simplest of things, like these tiny little details make the game so much better. You can build these crazy builds that have these fire tornadoes and all this craziness, or you can be this marksman that goes for all the red damage, high critical, weak spot damage. I don't know. Just rambling. Fantastic game. Remnant 2, one of the best games I've played in years. Absolutely fantastic game. No secret what's number one, right? I'm a massive Resident Evil fan, so what's going to be my number one game of the year? Resident Evil 4. It's absolutely great. I would say that Dead Space Remake would be on this list, but I didn't play it in 2023. I played it this year. So that's going to be on this year's list. But Resident Evil 4, absolutely fantastic game, because Dead Space Remake would be up here at number 1 or number 2, because that was actually fantastic as well. Again, just to clarify. But Resident Evil 4, let's talk about that for a minute. So I played Resident Evil 4, the original, on the GameCube, the little tiny discs. Absolutely fantastic experience. I actually borrowed my nephew's GameCube because I didn't have one. I was like, give me that. I need to play Resident Evil 4. Absolutely great game. I loved it back in the day. I've had it on GameCube. I've had it on PlayStation 2. I've had it on Xbox 360, Xbox One. I have all the copies of the game in there. So I bought Resident Evil 4 so many times that when they were saying they were completely remaking the game, I had to. I just couldn't. I'm that addicted to the game. So I was nervous, because I was like, man, they have so much riding on this game, because if they screw this up, man, they're going to ruin the remakes completely, because they've done such a good job so far. So the fact that they actually not only nailed this, but they made it better. They made it better than the original Resident Evil 4. I don't know how they did it. I don't know. I'm still shocked, because it was so good. It was so good. And again, I know I'm a fanboy, so I'm going to be raving about this. But objectively, you play this game, you've never played it before, I would say you need to, because this is that good of a game. If you just like any type of survival game, horror game, or anything like that, this is a great survival horror game. 10 out of 10, by far my favorite game of 2023.